I'm Haley and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited because today I'm doing another round of ranking the last 15 fragrances that I've tried. I was a little behind on this series, but I am slowly catching back up. So that's why we have another video so soon after the last one, which was a couple weeks ago. And I have been testing a lot of samples. So pretty much all of these are just samples. So I'm gonna pop up an image on the screen when I talk about them of the full size bottle, so you know what I'm talking about. But definitely always recommend you sample very small sizes before you buy, before you commit to a full size bottle, and definitely before you blind buy. So like I said, all of these are just mini little bits and bobs that I've been trying out over the past couple of months, and I'm excited to talk about them. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you'll stick around and keep on watching. So I'm gonna rank these least favorite to most favorite. I have a mix of niche brands, couple of designers, so we're just gonna get on into it. My least favorite here was Montal's Mango Manga. Mango Manga or Mango Manga. If we're talking about the Japanese comic books, I would say manga, but who knows here. I did not like this. I love mango fragrances. I'm a huge fan. I love Wilhelm's Mango Skin. It is 100% on my wish list. I also like the Fleur Mango Body Mist a ton. It is so fun, but this just was not for me. It does smell like mango for sure, but it smells like mango that's been sitting out on the counter for far too many days past its prime. It has that sweet, syrupy, almost about to be rotting fruit vibe, and that just did not work out for me. It is super strong. Like I said, it does smell like mango, but not in a good way. It smells like rotting mango. So for that reason, this one is in spot number 15. Did not like this fragrance and would not wear it. Next up is an indie fragrance. This is from the brand Alchemia, which I actually really love. I bought a ton of samples from them recently, so they're gonna pop up in the next few of these videos. But this one I just did not jive with, and that is Cherie. This is a fragrance that I honestly thought I would love because it has a cherry note, which is just fabulous. I love cherry fragrances, but sometimes they go so wrong, and I just did not like this one. So this smells incredibly medicinal to me because it also has a very strong saffron note. And for those of you who don't like Baccarat Rouge like me, because it smells like a doctor's office, this also smells like doctor's office. And I think it's sometimes that saffron note can have that medicinal plastic note, and it really comes through here. That combined with the cherry, which is can go medicinal so quickly. This just smells so medicinal to me, and I do not like this fragrance at all, even though I did really like the notes, and I do really like this house as a whole. This one just was not for me. Next up is another fragrance from Alchemia, but this one just isn't my vibe. Not so much that I think it's actively bad. This one is called Come to Me, and apparently it's based on a traditional voodoo recipe for a love potion or an attracting potion of sorts. So I thought that was interesting. It has some really strong rose notes, and it's mixed with just like a lot of different ingredients, one could say, but it has a very strong traditional floral, very heavy vibe, and I just didn't enjoy it, and I would not wear it, even though I love rose. The dry down was much nicer than the opening on this one for me, but it's just not one that I would reach for. Next up is a designer fragrance. I got this itty bitty adorable little bottle, I think as a gift with purchase. This is Victor and Rolf Good Fortune. I just don't like this because it's really not my vibe. So I love white florals, but the way that they're done in a lot of very popular mainstream designer fragrances, I just don't like. I find them to be very screechy a lot of the times, and just not wearable for me. Like they have this like sharp top layer, I guess I could say, that is just not for me. This reminds me a lot of Armani My Way, as well as Prada Paradox, and I just don't really like those kinds of fragrances. I know they're hugely popular, so I think if you do like those fragrances, you might really enjoy this, but this is just not for me. But I bet I can find someone who will love this adorable little dabber bottle. Next up is another fragrance from Alchemia. This one is more just interesting and not one that I'm actually gonna wear. This is called Legal Tender, and this one is supposed to smell like money, which I think is such an interesting and fun concept. Sometimes fragrance can just be like an interesting piece of art and not necessarily something that I myself want to wear, and that is this for me. It smells very woodsy and a little bit metallic, so it has these like this like papery note that smells like money and that sort of metallic vibe of money. And I really feel like it does smell like cash, which is super interesting. But because it's very woodsy in that way and papery, it smells very masculine to me. So it's not something that I would wear. So I'll pass this along to somebody else. But I do think this is interesting, cool, and artistic, just not one that I'm gonna wear. Then next up, another one from Alchemia. This is Gilded Alchemy. I think this is one of their monthly alchemy fragrances that they do. I got this as a gift with purchase when I picked up a full bottle of something from them recently. I just don't like this. It really smells exactly like laundry detergent to me, but I know some people seek that out. It has a lot of floral notes, which to me just come together and smell extremely, extremely soapy. It almost smells like an unwrapped bar soap, like from a hotel or something like that as well. So if you really like that ultra soapy, sort of like industrial white floral laundry detergent vibe, you might really, really like this one, but it was just not for me. Next up, I have a fragrance from Mancera. This is Roses and Chocolate. It smells exactly like roses and chocolate to me. It is accurate. I just don't know if I actually want to smell like roses and chocolate. I like both of those scents a lot, but I don't actually know if I want to walk around smelling like that. So while I do think this smells good, and like I said, it does smell accurately like what they say it smells like, I just don't know if I like it on me, and it's not really one that I'm gonna reach for again and wear a lot. So the next group of fragrances that we're getting into are ones that I like. I don't think they're bad by any means. I'm just probably not going to reach for them and wear them again for a variety of reasons, but I don't think any of these upcoming ones are bad by any means. The first is YSL's Rouge Velour. I think this is pretty. This is a very pretty floral scent. It's just a little bit forgettable to me, and I feel like it kind of got lost in the shuffle amongst all these other fragrances that I was trying out. I think it's nice. I think it's pretty. I think for the right person, this is going to be like your regular daily driver go-to perfume, but that's just not me. In this case, there's so many other rose fragrances that I just like more. Also has some jasmine, iris, things like that. And I think it's pretty, it's nice. It's just not one that I'm super drawn to. Next up is one from Mancera. This is French Riviera. I've actually wanted to try this for a very long time because I love citrus and aquatic fragrances, but this just comes across as very masculine to me, and I think this would smell so great on the right person, but for me, it just smells a little bit too much like generic men's cologne. It has vetiver and pine in it, and I feel like those two notes combined really give it that masculine swing. Otherwise, I think I would have loved this if it didn't have those, because I love the citrusy aquatic vibe of this, and I smell the salty base note and all of that, but it's just not for me, and it just comes across as very, very masculine, which I'm not super into. Next up is Mancera's Tonka Cola. I've also really wanted to try this for a while because I love fun, unusual fragrance notes like Coca-Cola. I have a few other fragrances that do actually have cola notes. Like for me, BDK's Rouge Smoking kind of has a Coca-Cola note as well, which I think is really fun. This takes it in a whole new direction though, in the sense that it is the main note here, but I think it's really fun. Again, I talked about this with some of the other fragrances. That doesn't mean that I'm going to want to wear it, but I am glad that I tried it. So I feel like samples can be a really fun way to just broaden your palette in a way and just try new things, even if you're not going to wear them. So I pretty much knew I was never going to be super into a Coca-Cola fragrance like as my regular perfume, but I wanted to get my nose on it and I wanted to try it, and I'm so glad I did. I think it actually smells so good. Like, I love the smell of this, but I'm just not going to reach for it. I'm not going to wear it. I know myself. Yeah, it smells really fun and nostalgic. I really like this, and I think I'm the right person. I could see them rocking it. But that person is just not me. But I thought this was super fun and very creative and cool. Then next up I have Montal's Lucky Candy. This is basically just a sweet, tropical, fruity floral. I think it's really fun, if a little bit basic. Probably not gonna be my go-to again, but I think it smells good. I think that if you really like really fun, sweet, girly scents, and you also want something with a little bit of a tropical vibe, I think you'd really like this. I've heard a lot of people talking about this on different YouTube channels, and I know that it's popular and people like it. I think it smells good. Probably not gonna be one that I'm gonna get as a full bottle, but I'm glad that I tried it. Next up, I have Tom Ford's Orchid Soleil. I just wanted to try this for a long time. Tom Ford just has a huge catalog of fragrances, so I always like to throw in a couple in my cart when I'm doing an order of decants, just so I can try as many as I can, because I really love the house and I love what they do. And I was excited to try this one. It's not one that I'm going to be wearing because it does have a very strong white floral element, but not necessarily in the way that my preference is. So it's a very strong orchid, tuberose, and lily scent, and I love tuberose, but I'm not as into the orchid and the lily side of things, but I think it's really nice. I think if you really like those notes, you may really like this fragrance. I think it's very pretty and well done, just probably not one that is, you know, one that I'm naturally drawn towards, but I do like it, again, much more than a lot of the fragrances that we've already talked about, so it is pretty high up on the list. Then next up, we have a flanker of a fragrance that I already really know that I love, and that is BDK's Rouge Smoking Extrait. And this is really fun. I love Rouge Smoking, and this is just kind of like that, but more vanillic. There's a lot more vanilla in the base and in this fragrance, and I really like it. I think it's nice. I think if you don't like the more funky, unique aspects of Rouge Smoking, like if you don't really like the sort of leather jacket vibe, the sort of Coca-Cola vibe that I was talking about before, you may like this one more. I also don't get the cherry as much in this one. I feel like I get the cherry a lot more in the original, and like I said, this has those notes. They're just toned down and made a lot more vanillic. I think it smells really good. I do have a full-size bottle of the original, so I'm not going to go out and buy a flanker. You know, that's just not how I roll unless I really, really love it. And I'm not as into vanilla. I don't know, I just love the original fragrance and I don't necessarily need another version of it, but I think it smells really good. Genuinely, I think this will have a lot of fans, especially if you love vanilla fragrances. Next up in the number 2 spot is a fragrance that is also a flanker of an ultra popular niche fragrance, and that is Amouage Guidance 46. And the original Guidance was like sold out everywhere. Everyone was like obsessed with it like last year, I think, on fragrance YouTube, and I think it's really, really pretty. I think this is just a flanker of that, and I really like it. I think it's gorgeous. It is a beautiful, really quality, really well done fruity floral with like some hazelnut and nutty notes in it as well, but I just think it's really pretty. It has some rose, just looking at the notes off screen here, rose, pear, vanilla. It comes across as more fruity than the notes list, but I think it's really pretty. And again, I think it smells really quality. Again, am I gonna go out and purchase a several $100 full-size bottle of this? No, but I'm glad that I tried it. It smells genuinely so, so good. Really have enjoyed this one. So the number 1 fragrance is one that's also on my perfume tray this month, and that is a fragrance oil from the indie brand Alchemia, which we've talked about before in this video, and that is their single note rose rouge. I think this is really, really fabulous. It just smells so deliciously of real roses. If you really love a single note rose, I think you'd really, really enjoy this one. To me, this is not a green rose. It's not a dried rose. It's not a rose that really brings in a lot of those stem and thorn notes either, and it's specifically a red rose petal fragrance, and that is what I really love and enjoy. It smells so good to me. I remember being like a 10-year-old and spending my allowance money on a rose essential oil, and that kind of takes me back to that. It smells so good. I love layering this with other floral fragrances as well. I think it's a really nice quality. It has a really, really nice wear time and lasting power because it is a fragrance oil. So you can just dab it on and it really gives a really, really beautiful scent bubble that lasts many hours. So I really love this. I think it's excellent. I actually got this as a gift with purchase for them, and I am so thankful because I am so glad to be introduced to that fragrance. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of any of these fragrances. I'd love to hear your thoughts as per usual, and I will be back, of course, in another couple of weeks with another round of testing new fragrances and ranking them in this series. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.